3, 2, 1. What's up, Nica?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's good.
Thank you for coming in.
No worries at all.
I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. I'm super excited. Like, I actually legit am.
We're talking yoga.
Yes, absolutely. Everything is always yoga.
Yeah. For those community members of ours that don't know who you are and haven't heard about what you do, talk us through it, Nica.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
So I'm a yoga teacher now. So I haven't always been a yoga teacher, but yoga has always been in my life for quite a long time. So now I'm a yoga teacher in this area and a digital marketing coach for yoga teachers as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some of the work you do online.
Yeah.
With the other yoga teachers.
Yes. So I think yoga is such a essential part of everyone's life in different ways. But I think there's a big community of yoga teachers in Brisbane, and I think they have such a big message to share. And if I can help them share their message and help impact other people in our communities or everywhere in the world, I feel like the world will be a little bit better in that sense, and just connecting more people and getting into the health and wellness and allowing them to experience the magic of that. Yeah.
As an absolute rookie yogi, I'm looking forward to this to learn about the benefits that yoga can bring to our community. Mm-hmm. And I'll share some of my journeys as well. But I've only ever done it for about 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And I did it for about I think it was 1 to 2 sessions a week. Mm-hmm. And I felt amazing. I used to do it on a Friday morning.
Yes.
It was like a great start before the weekend. Body felt mobile, felt flexible, and I found it helped me outside of the gym as well with all the performance stuff that I was doing at the time. But how did you get started?
So my yoga journey actually started in 2011, so back at CBJ. It was the very first gym that I had joined. Actually, it's where we met, and quite a few members of the team as well. But for me, I didn't even know what the difference was between yoga and Pilates. And I had this image in my mind where I just wanted to be one of those yoga people that like rode their bikes to the markets, like ate green beans and all this. Like, I don't know what I was imagining, but there was a class on the timetable, which was body balance. So it was a mix of yoga, Tai Chi, and Pilates. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to join this. And the first time I had ever taken the class, I just felt so inspired and empowered. Like I've never felt my body move in that way before. So I grew up dancing, but I never grew up in sport. I sucked at sport. I was terrible. I couldn't catch a ball very well. Golfing was probably like the only thing I could do. Yeah. So to feel my body and feel empowered with the movement and the flow and just the challenge every single week, I felt like I could do anything after I left. So it was the after effects of yoga. So there's time on your mat, then time like yoga off the mat, which I started to learn over the years. But it was that connection to myself and the discovery. And eventually I wanted to share this feeling with other people. So I was like, other people need to know how amazing this feels, and this is what I want other people to feel. So eventually then I became a body balance instructor, and that's how I started to get into this industry. And it was a natural progression to becoming a yoga teacher and go deeper into the practice and philosophy of yoga.
It's powerful.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Time on the mat and then time off the mat.
Yes.
So it's like the work that you put in whilst you're practicing it, and then the benefits outside.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest gifts, and I think I've just really been able to articulate it now and really understand it now, but one of the greatest gifts yoga has given me anyway is that higher sense of awareness. So because when you're in your yoga postures, you're thinking about like your body and then all these, and because a lot of the times you're holding the postures and all these other thoughts come into your mind, and how do you manage those thoughts, and how do you focus on your breathing, how do you make sure that your knee isn't like over your ankle, or all these different things. And it gives you that higher sense of awareness. But yoga philosophy is huge. It's what you usually see in studios or in the gyms is only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of yoga. Yoga has a full history and ancient wisdom behind it, but just to scratch the surface level, having that awareness on the mat and then being able to use the same awareness to tackle everyday situations, whether it's challenging or being able to see the smaller things in life and the beautiful things in life, because when you have that higher sense of awareness, things start to open up for you. You see opportunities where you may not have seen them before, or you see the silver lining in challenges that may not have been there if you were so focused on just the challenge itself. So for me, that is the greatest gift of yoga.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's some serious stuff. You mentioned the difference between Pilates and yoga. Do you mind if we dig into that a little bit? Because our community heavily benefits from Reformer Pilates, mat Pilates, and I struggle describing the differences to our members as well.
Yeah. So it is like the movements can be very similar. I find that Pilates is great for like targeting different areas. Like I'm not a Pilates expert, but it definitely, they work very well together. But I think the main difference is the philosophy of yoga that gets taken on into the mat. So a lot of like the asanas, or for example, sun salutations is something you would do every single class where you do your rounds and your downward facing dogs and that cycle. And a lot of the time that was for you to salute the sun. You would do it in the morning and bring it in to prepare for meditation, or you would do meditation to prepare for your postures, to raise that, to reach your higher self. So yoga really is all about reaching your higher self, which I think is a little bit different to why Pilates was invented. So I think Pilates was invented, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Pilates was invented because to help people recover from injuries, right?
I think that's right. Joseph Pilates was a physio in Europe or something, and his mates were getting shot in one of the wars, and they were injured or something. I think that's how the story goes. Darko's going to correct us if we butcher this.
I reckon he will.
Sure. Like, how do you not know this, bro? But yeah, he saw his mates deconditioned because, say, they got shot in the leg or something, and then they were in hospital trying to recover from their leg injury. The rest of their body atrophied as well. So he would go in with bands and sleds and help them recover that way. And then that's how the reformer evolved. And
So the history.
If I butchered this, Darko's going to kill me.
It's right. We can. At least we all know.
Yo, edit this.
We'll just put a cut where
Darko comes in. He's like, actually, let's do that. That's cool. But yeah, so the history, I think, of yoga itself is very different. So, it was originated in India, and that's something I think that we should always remember where this ancient practices come from. It's not something that you do just to show off your tights and like your awesome like yoga bod. It's so much more than that, and that's what me personally as a yoga teacher, that's what I want to bring about, that connection back to the roots. But yoga was created so you can reach your higher self through meditation, and the asanas prepares your body for that and the purification of your body. So that would be the biggest difference between yoga and Pilates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I think our community will benefit a lot. I'm buzzing.
Cool.
And we'll chat about you joining the team later on. But yo, Nica's joining the team, everybody.
That was later on.
And I'm looking forward to jumping in and learning from you. I guess I wouldn't mind talking about like why it's like important to you. We discussed like the philosophies and your journey from a commercial gym to to you becoming a body balance instructor and then progressing from there.
Yes. So it's important to me because I think it allows me to live my life in a very present way. Because life isn't always easy, man. Life is hard. Life can be really challenging, and it depends on how you react to things. It's, should I react this way or should I react that way? One reaction can lead to all these other reactions, and your path could be different. But it allows me to stay grounded as a person and be able to be a better person for other people. And I think it allows you, before you can give so much and to a community and to be able to serve others, you need to fill your cup first to a degree, because you can't give 100% to someone else if you have an empty cup, and you're doing them a disservice if you're not looking after yourself as well. So for me, yoga is that grounding spot. I come back to it whenever I'm going through a really big challenge in my life. I do come back to it a lot more than I would, say, in a normal, like, everyday cycle of my life, but it's a very grounding practice for me. And the more I learn about it, the more I see that I add all these different like rituals into my day. Like I'm like, obviously I meditate, and then I do a lot of like cleansing, like smudging with like sage sticks, like sage bundles, or like Palo Santo sticks, which I would never have done before. But because I've received that grounding in myself and I want to continue being able to self-develop, that's literally all drawn back from yoga. Constant practice.
It's powerful.
Yeah. It's a little bit deep, but, you know.
I like it.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. We're talking philosophy of yoga here, and it is deep. Like you said, it originated from India, and
there's so much there's so much to learn. Like, you can't learn it overnight, and I think that's why you keep coming back to yoga all the time. It's that consistent self-development consistent self-development, consistent self-awareness, so you can live your life in a purposeful way and on the path that you want to do, and to be able to live out what your higher purpose is or what you want to achieve. So you're not living your life just day to day and really mundane. You're bringing zest into it.
Yeah. A lot of our community, they're high-performing individuals, whether it's athletes or whether it's in their professional world or their careers. So I think what we're chatting about will be a big help for them in terms of preventing burnout, lowering anxiety levels, helping them manage with all of the stresses of life, and and training, the physical stress of training and putting in a shift on the football field or in the gym, or powerlifting or whatever it is that they're doing. So I think it'll be it's a nice balance. No doubt yoga has its benefits for mental health and all of the deeper benefits. What's your thoughts on yoga for physical benefits for our members of the community that are into squatting, deadlifting, benching,
absolutely,
performing?
So with a lot of those like powerful, strong, like lifting movements, your hips, like things start to get really tight, like your muscles. Yoga can really help alleviate a lot of that and really open up those muscles so you can have those like deeper range of motions. So like, I'm not a weightlifter, but I did know when I used to train a lot in the gym that it feels so tight. But when you can start opening your hips and having those longer muscles, you can get into a deeper squat. You can like have those like stronger ranges of motions, and flexibility. Your flexibility naturally progresses when you are when you have a consistent yoga practice. While it's not all about flexibility, it definitely helps. And your core strength. There's lots of different poses of yogis, like in arm balances and headstands, and a lot of that comes from core strength. So you can't do those without having core strength. And as we know, core strength in Pilates, in weightlifting, anything is really important to hold your body, and also the deep pelvic floor. So there's a lot of different like terminologies for those things, like energetic locks or body locks. So your core lock, your pelvic floor lock, that comes into your yoga practice every single time. So even if it just looks like you're standing in a standing posture, you're just standing there, on the inside you're actually activating those deeper muscles that you can't see outside. So taking that into your other types of exercise is really going to, give you a more holistic approach to your body, and to understand your body more, and feel different elements of your muscles that you may not have felt before, and that awareness to your hands, like how engaged your hands on the floor, how are your feet planting into the ground. So when you prepare to lift or for a squat, like your feet are activating and they're on that platform, same as when you're standing in a normal standing posture in yoga. So I think it comes back to that awareness, that strength, core strength is huge, and the flexibility, physically anyway.
Yeah, I know last time I practiced yoga, that body awareness and the physical awareness, it did improve. I noticed that as I was holding that pose and like breathing into it, and my yoga instructor at the time was like breathe into your lower back and like any tension and like trying to listen. I'm like, what? What do you?
Yes, breath. Breath is huge.
Yeah.
Breath is a big thing, because breath, like the prana, the energy that's moving through your body, because say if you're, I'm going to talk about hips because that is something that I hear a lot about. So, and like your yoga teacher was saying, breathe into a certain part of your body. Like, how do I'm going to breathe throughout my whole body. Like, how do I direct my breath to a certain part? But you can if you're, again, your awareness, thinking about that part, and you're really focusing on it, because when you focus on bringing your breath into your hips, and you start to relax into that posture, and you welcome openness. And instead of trying to fight the stretch of opening your hips, your breath is going to relax your body, and the more inhales and exhales you take, before you know it, you've started to open and relax through your hips. And totally forgotten about the rest of your body. You're just focusing on your hips. So when a teacher says bring your breath to your hips or bring your breath into your back, it's really just focusing on those body parts.
So it's the thought. It's like thinking about the body part that's tight and locked, and then breathing. Okay.
Because it's got that emotional attachment as well to that. And I only just realized that you hold emotions in your body, like literally physically you can hold emotions in certain parts. And if you do like, I think like the Chinese meridian system and things like that, you can actually like press on different sides of your body and like have a physical release. And I didn't know about that. And I thought that was really, really interesting that emotions are held physically in your body.
Yeah. I certainly felt a physical benefit on the football field and in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I did it for 6 or 8 weeks, I felt my hips opening up. I felt my lower back, like all of the niggles and the small pains completely started to go away.
Yeah.
And every time I did it, I was like, man, I need to incorporate more yoga into my routine. There's just something about how good the body feels as well. That was the big take home for me, was just the recovery from all the other training that I was doing significantly improved.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have the balance. It's like there's yoga, Pilates, and lifting weights, cardio. Your body needs to move in different ways. So it's really important, I think, to have that holistic approach to your body.
Yep. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of our members that go, man, I want to do yoga because I want the physical and the mental benefits, but I found it really intense, like on my wrists or on my knees, or I feel like I'm a little bit too weak because it was just a bit too, like I couldn't do it. What's your thoughts on that? Can we do anything to help those members out and like encourage them to, I don't know, modify, or should they still come along, or is there a, you might say there's a base level of strength and fitness that you need for yoga, or is...
No, I think there's always modifications, and there's yoga props. So there's even a thing called chair yoga. So for recovery, I know one of the teachers was teaching yoga in an elderly home, where their yoga was literally like reaching their arms up and doing some stretches, and that was their yoga. So for those members who may not be sure if they can do yoga because of their wrists or their knees, there's always props, there's always modifications. So if you can't quite do a downward dog, or if you can't quite do a full plank, you can drop to your knees, or you can roll your mat up, give you extra padding and support, have extra blocks. So there's the yoga blocks. It really helps you to lift up the ground, so you're not having to stretch and like really remove the essence of like the posture just because you're trying to reach the ground. So it's not about that. There's always props, there's always modifications to be able to slowly progress. And that's why it's called a yoga practice as well. Like you come back to it every single time. But absolutely, yoga you can begin with yoga at any stage. And in different classes, teachers should always give you options. Okay. But of course, it depends. So there's different styles of yoga. Yep. For example, Ashtanga yoga, which is a very, very powerful practice, maybe wouldn't be the best thing for a beginner to start off with, because they're really strong, like a strong set of sequences that are really powerful. So if it's your very, very first time joining yoga, maybe not attempting that, and maybe trying something else. Okay. But it really depends on what you're after. There's a lot of different styles.
So I know when we were talking off the camera, you were saying when we were doing our planning, you were saying there's 3 styles that you're going to bring to our community.
Yes.
What were they again?
Yeah, so the 3 styles that I want to bring is Vinyasa. So Vinyasa flow is kind of it's the powerful yoga flow that it's quite common. So it's really fast movements, very beautiful, like flowy movements, and you kind of don't stop, and you get a sweat on, and it's like almost, it can be like cardio if you're moving quite fast. Okay. The second one is Hatha. So Hatha...
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I have a feeling the one that I practiced was Vinyasa, because it was like one pose, and then like you're into the next one, and then you're into the next one, and then like 45 minutes in, you're like, oh shit. There wasn't a break. We didn't stop. It was just like constant flow.
Exactly.
So Vinyasa is the flowing one.
Yeah. Okay. So one breath, one movement.
One breath, one movement.
So inhale, exhale, and you're constantly moving, and it's really beautiful once you start to get into it, and you're comfortable with the flow, because then you can just get out of your mind and just start moving on your mat. The second one is Hatha. So Hatha is like sun and the moon. So the sun and moon energies is where that word originated from. but it's a lot more, you take it slower. So it's all about your postures and the alignment, and again, activating those different areas of your body. But also it creates like strength, because holding, if you imagine holding like a plank for like 5 rounds of breath and consistently, and then holding another posture for a long time. So that really builds strength, and it really helps to clear the mind as well, because you're focused on it. And then we have yin. So yin is...
Sorry, just before you go on, so Hatha, just so I get this down packed, because the members of the community are going to ask me for sure.
Yeah.
So Hatha is a bit more strength-based.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So if, say you're doing a strength pose like a plank, and there's a bit more holding involved, and you're breathing at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas the Vinyasa was one breath, one movement, like
absolutely
flowy.
Yeah, so Hatha would be maybe you'd hold a pose for say 3 to 5 breaths, maybe 6 breaths before you move on to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'd have a similar sequence, but a lot more holding and a lot less poses, I'd say.
Okay.
And then yin is beautiful. It's a love-hate relationship, I think, when it comes to yin. So yin is more of a restorative yoga, not completely restorative, because that is another style. But yin is where you would hold your poses so for 5 to 6 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes. So you would say in a reclined butterfly, for example, is when you have your feet together, your knees apart, and you're laying on your back. Maybe you have a prop underneath you to alleviate some of that pressure on your back. But all that breath and all that opening is going to your hips. So we'll hold it for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And it's very slow. There's only maybe 5 or 6 postures for a 60-minute class. But it's holding, it's restorative. So if you've had a really, really busy week and you've been hitting the gym really hard and you've had a stressful week at work and you just want to let go physically, mentally, emotionally, yin would definitely be one of those classes for you to be supported and to be like held in this space and to know that you can just let go. Don't worry about anything else. This 60 minutes is yours. Yeah. So those are the 3 styles.
That's powerful. That last one, yin, might be good for like end of the week, right?
Yeah.
Like Friday, Saturday sessions where all the lifting done is done, all the training's done, busy work week, and then a good recovery sesh.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really helps you like really ease into the weekend, have a great weekend, and set up for a really productive and successful week ahead so you can do it all over again.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're starting in 2 weeks. What can our members expect in a typical yoga session with you? You call them yoga class or yoga sesh?
Either.
Just either?
Either's fine. I think the one thing that they know, they would feel, and I want all my members to feel coming in, is that, number one, it's always a safe place for them to express themselves. Doesn't matter where they come from, what their ability level is, what their experience is with yoga. Know that they are supported and that they can be grounded here. Again, depends on what class they're coming to, but if you're coming to a Vinyasa class, know that we're going to sweat. Hopefully, we're going to sweat, we're going to move. We're really going to just allow the body to let go. In a Hatha class, it's all about the power. So 3 breaths is 3 breaths. It's not just 1.5.
Yeah.
So we're going to hold for real. And really focusing on alignment. Alignment is really important because you can get so much more out of your postures like that. But what they can expect is that there is that welcoming, supportive environment and having a little bit of those philosophy, like little knowledge bombs, like dropping in so they can take it away when they go back to their workspace or back into their home, back into their relationships. They can take a little bit of what they've learned and a little bit of positive, like that positivity that they've cultivated, that we've cultivated together in the class, and take that off the mat into their everyday life. So I want it to be a continuation from in here to outside. And then bringing it into their everyday lives and really supporting each other. And just number one is that really supportive, grounding environment.
Sounds exciting.
I really hope
Nuts.
so.
Yeah, I think so. So talk to me about, like, do they need to bring their own yoga mat?
Yes.
Do they need to know anything else? Any other info before they roll up?
So, like, obviously we have mats here as well, but it's really great to bring your own. Once you start having a consistent practice, you'll find that maybe certain mats work better for you.
Okay.
But just definitely having your own mat, a towel, if for any class, just having a towel there and a water bottle is always good. But what I had learned in my yoga teacher training was, so our sessions would go for 2 hours. So we would do a 2-hour practice and we were all like drinking water. It's in Thailand, it's hot. And they're like, stop drinking water. And I was like, what? Like, can I not drink water? So apparently, yoga is meant to create that heat in your body, and you don't want to cool the heat down by drinking water because it does something else to your body at the same time. But more than welcome to bring a bottle of water. It's fine. You can drink drink water, stay hydrated. But that's just what I had learned. And it was a really big challenge for us not to say, okay, we're creating this heat in our body. We want to hold the heat in our body, and we can drink before or after. But for our members here, just bring a bottle of water. It's okay.
Bring your bottle of water.
Bring a bottle of water.
So you did some training in Thailand?
Yes. So I did my yoga teacher training in Thailand. So it was a 4-week immersive training. It was from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m., sometimes 7 p.m. Wow. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Yeah. Highly recommend. For even if you're not planning to teach, it's more than half the class weren't planning to teach yoga. Wow. So they had just gone there for more like self-discovery.
Yoga retreat.
Basically, yeah. And in terms of other props, you won't need anything else. Just really mat, towel, water bottle.
Okay, our members, they've been smashing it so far with their strength and conditioning classes. We do a lot of activation work where we've engineered the program so that there's core drills, activation drills that'll help our members perform a better squat, hit a deeper range of motion. And then after that, we've got accessory work that accompanies the squat. That's a typical day in our strength and conditioning class. And then different days, our members have different workouts. So 2 days later, they might be benching. And we find that the feedback that we get from our members is that they're getting lots of results in the gym in terms of strength, body composition, burning fat, feeling better. But we're also getting benefits transfer outside of the gym. Members are coming in and saying, man, it's like easier now for me to stay seated at work. Or like, shit, I couldn't pick up that 20 kilo printer at work or something, but now I just like throw it around and that's nice. Yeah. And a lot of the athletic development side of things as well. Prepping footballers, tennis players, ballerinas. And then the other element of that our community benefits from is the Reformer Pilates, where they do a mat and Reformer class to help them recover. So what's your thoughts on yoga's role in joining our strength and conditioning program and our Reformer Pilates program as well?
Absolutely. What I love about this community and what you've created is that openness in the communication that we can have as instructors as well. So a lot of the restorative poses will be complementary to what you're already doing in those classes. So, for example, postures that will counteract what you're currently doing so that you can gain that bigger flexibility and the recovery of the postures. But I think it's a lot of and I'll always come back to this, it's always like the mental release, because so much of the week, if you're go constantly, yoga will just give you that mental, emotional time while building the physical aspects. But while you're building like strength through your strength and conditioning classes, when you come to a yoga class, you can let the mental, emotional stuff go. That's so often that we forget about. So maybe your shoulders are up here the whole week because you're like super stressed and you don't even realize until you start to let it go. So when you come back to the strength and conditioning classes, you're building up your strength, but you've got also the awareness of, okay, like I'm going to be able to let anything that I'm holding on to this week go when I come to a yoga class. So then you have more space and more capacity to build your strength because you have less stress that's taking up energetic space in your body. Same for like in a professional setting in your workplace. So if you're 5 days a week, working 9 to 5, you're hitting the gym, and then by the end of the week, again, you're stressed, yoga is going to help you really let go and open up and gain that flexibility in your body and in your work-life balance.
We see it all the time. Our members coming into the gym, typically our more novice members, when we're about to bench with them or do a lat pull down, and you're right, like their shoulders are literally jacked up to their ears and they're shrugging like this, and then we're like, hey, like, da-da-da. Yeah, we're trying to work on the cueing. So I'm excited for that contribution as well, to help them, let go, and like I'll I guess I'll be seeing it like transfer in the gym and downstairs.
I really hope so. And I think the awareness of the breath as well, because just from seeing lifters like lift, you know, I think it's like an inhale to prepare and then an exhale to like execute and like lift up your weights. Yeah. So the awareness to the breath is going to become second nature to you. Eventually, when you're moving, it's always there. It's always present in yoga. And then that can easily be transferred into the other classes as well. Yep. Is that breath.
With yoga in the community, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Like, I know our men and our male members are going to be like, yo, what is this?
Yeah.
Yoga, it's for women, it's for chicks. I'm not really going to benefit from yoga, am I? What is the story? Can dudes come as well?
Absolutely. Actually, a lot of like the ancient yogis, a lot of them are men. Well, most of them are men who started yoga. Like the where yoga started was by men, but it's just like Pilates. So Pilates is usually an exercise that's associated with women, but as your members have seen already, that they've received so many benefits from bringing Pilates into their workouts. The same for yoga. It is absolutely for not just for women, it is for men as well, because we're human beings. We all have like mental, emotional, physical connections to our bodies. So as I was saying, yoga helps you to release those. And both men and women have those things. We both suffer from stress during the week, and it's how you manage the stress. We can never get rid of stress, but it's how you manage the stress in your day-to-day life that helps you to get more out of life. And therefore, yoga isn't just women, because women aren't the only ones who get stressed. And yeah, so it's for everyone, really.
Okay. I'll share the good word with the bros.
Yes.
Like, you guys can come.
Yes, and you don't need to be super flexible to get started. You don't need to touch your toes. You don't need to be able to stand on your hands or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, anybody can get started.
Anybody can get started.
Yeah. Cool. This is a great opportunity for us to wrap up, I think. Mm-hmm. You've joined the team. Your first yoga session is on Monday the 27th.
Yes.
So we're starting in 2 weeks. Where can members of the community find more about what you do and find you online?
Yeah, so you can connect. The best place to connect is on Instagram. So at nica.yogicoach is where you can find me, and I can't wait to have a chat to you there and just follow along and see what kind of things come up.
Thank you, Nica.
No worries. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.